He thought it would be an easy way to get part of the cellar dug for nothing, so he smiled in a rather mean way and gave the job of digging the cellar to the new town hall to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. Then they started in early the next morning, just as the sun was coming up. Soon a little boy came along. "Do you think you will finish by sundown?" he said to Mike Mulligan. "Sure," said Mike. "If you stay and watch us, we always work faster and better when someone is watching us." So the little boy stayed to watch. Then Mrs. McGillicuddy, Henry B. Swap, and the town constable came over to see what was happening, and they stayed to watch. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug a little faster and a little better. This gave the little boy a good idea. He ran off and told the postman with the morning mail, the telegraph boy on his bicycle, the milkman with his horse and cart, the doctor on his way home, and the farmer and his family coming into town for the day. And they all stopped and stayed to watch. That made Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dig a little faster and a little better. They finished the first corner neat and square, but the sun was getting higher. The sun is going higher. That means it's getting close to noontime, lunchtime, so the day's half over. Clang, clang, clang. The fire department arrived. They had seen the smoke and thought there was a fire. Then the little boy said, "Why don't you stay and watch?" So the fire department of Popperville stayed to watch Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. When they heard the fire engine, the children in the school across the street couldn't keep their eyes on their lessons. The teacher called a long recess, and the whole school came out to watch. That made Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dig still faster and still better. They finished the second corner neat and square, but the sun was right up in the top of the sky. Now, the little girl who answers the telephone called up the next towns of Bangerville and Bopperville and Kipperville and Copperville and told them what was happening in Popperville. All the people came over to see if Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel could dig the cellar in just one day. The more people came, the faster Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug. But they would have to hurry. They were only halfway through, and the sun was beginning to go down. They finished the third corner, neat and square. Never had Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann had so many people to watch them. Never had they dug so fast and so well. And never had the sun seemed to go down so fast. "Hurry, Mike Mulligan! Hurry, hurry!" shouted the little boy. "There's not much time left." Dirt was flying everywhere, and the smoke and steam were so thick that the people could hardly see anything. But listen. Bing, bang, crash, slam, louder and louder, faster and faster. Then, suddenly it was quiet. Slowly the dirt settled down, the smoke and steam cleared away, and there was the cellar, all finished. 4 corners, neat and square, 4 walls, straight down, and Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann at the bottom. And the sun was just going down behind the hill. "Hooray!" shouted the people. "Hooray for Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. They have dug the cellar in just one day." Suddenly the little boy said, "How are they going to get out?" "That's right," said Mrs. McGillicuddy to Henry B. Swap. "How is he going to get his steam shovel out?" Henry B. Swap didn't answer, but he smiled. in a rather mean way. Then everybody said, "How are they going to get out? Hi, Mike Mulligan, how are you going to get your steam shovel out?" Mike Mulligan looked around at the 4 square corners and the 4 square walls, and he said, "We've dug so fast and we've dug so well that we've quite forgotten to leave a way out. Nothing like this had ever happened to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann before, and they didn't know what to do." I'm pausing for a minute. I want you to think. Tell somebody who's watching with you what you think Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann would do. Ready? Let's see. Nothing like this had ever happened before in Popperville. Everybody started talking at once, and everybody had a different idea, and everybody thought that his idea was the best. They talked and they talked and they argued and they fought till they were worn out, and still no one knew how to get Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann out of the cellar they had dug. Then Henry B. Swap said, "The job isn't finished because Mary Ann isn't out of the cellar, so Mike Mulligan won't get paid." And he smiled again in a rather mean way. Now the little boy, who had been keeping very quiet, had another good idea. He said, "Why couldn't we leave Mary Ann in the cellar and build the new town hall above her? Let her be the furnace for the new town hall, and let Mike Mulligan be the janitor, the custodian. Then you wouldn't have to buy a new furnace, and we could pay Mike Mulligan for digging the cellar in just one day." He's kind of engineering that, isn't he? Could Mary Ann be the new furnace? "Why not?" said Henry B. Swap, and smiled in a way that was not quite so mean. "Why not?" said Mrs. McGillicuddy. "Why not?" said the town constable. "Why not?" said all the people. So they found a ladder and climbed down into the cellar to ask Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. "Why not?" said Mike Mulligan. So it was decided, and everybody was happy. Look at Mary Ann. You think she wants to be the new heater? The furnace? They built the new town hall right over Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. It was finished before winter. Leave him in there. Every day the little boy goes over to see Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, and Mrs. McGillicuddy takes him nice hot apple pies. As for Henry B. Swap, he spends most of his time in the cellar of the new town hall, listening to the stories that Mike Mulligan has to tell, and smiling in a way that isn't mean at all. Now, when you go to Popperville, be sure to go down into the cellar of the new town hall. They'll be there. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, Mike in his rocking chair smoking his pipe, and Mary Ann beside him, warming up the meetings in the new town hall. So Mike Mulligan didn't have a job. Nobody would hire Mary Ann. Sometimes you have to think about things differently, and that little boy sure did. He thought, maybe Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann could do something different. Do you think everybody was happy at the end? Yeah, at the beginning they were pretty upset. Things weren't going the way they wanted. Maybe a little bit like when we can't go to school together. Yeah, that makes me upset. So we're trying to do this. We're trying to get together and hear stories and practice all the things we know, so that when we're back at school one day, we'll have learned a lot and we'll have a lot to share with each other. I'll see you tomorrow, boys and girls, and I'll try to pick out another good story. I hope you loved this one, Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. Till tomorrow.